We have a wonderfully retrospective cast to our politics. We always look back to the basic documents, the Declaration and the Constitution. The best, most renewing thing that's happened in America in the last 4 or 5 years, called the Tea Party. It's named after something that happened in 1773, for Pete's sake. I mean, it's a very healthy, the way we go through life with a crick in our neck from looking back at our origins, which are in a doctrine of limited, delegated, and enumerated powers for the government.
Is Barry Goldwater the model for what you are now calling conservatism?
I want more Goldwaterism in the mix.
What are the benefits, or what are the strong suits of Goldwater that are missing in today's?
Well, it's the basic skepticism about state action.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's the Southwest open horizon. Multicultural society. He's a great photographer, Barry, and he loved photographing Native Americans. And he lived among people of Hispanic origin who'd been there a lot longer than the Goldwaters had been. Goldwaters came from Poland, I think. And when they got to the Southwest, they were newcomers. So he had this kind of live and let live, open spaces, a lot of sunlight, just wonderful spirit in the Southwest that I happen to love. I want more of the Goldwater impulse. The conservatives who are in elective office are looking over their shoulder at a deeply conflicted electorate. And again, it's the cognitive dissonance. The American people, rhetorically, are Jeffersonians. Operationally, they're Hamiltonians. And squaring that circle is a difficult challenge for political operatives.
Mitt Romney tried to square the circle by saying, I'm a good Republican and I'm never going to tell you anything that I'm going to cut ever because I don't want to scare you. And people found him inauthentic. Yeah. What did you see as him as sort of the as a face of conservatism?
Well, he's not the face of conservatism. He's a northeastern big business creative capitalist who wanted to govern for a while. And an honorable man, intelligent man, a man of great accomplishments, tremendous personal decency, but he wasn't a political man in the sense that he had an idea that America has serious problems that ought to be addressed.
In 2016, where do you see the choice in the country being between, and not necessarily Republican and Democrat, but what is the choice that we have to make a decision about there that is going to actually allow us to start addressing the operational cognitive dissonance in the American population?
I think the American people feel today that the system isn't working for them. And I think they're largely right. I think what they have not internalized is that big government is invariably, primarily, a servant of the strong, of the organized, the educated, the affluent, the lawyered up. That's why Washington is what it is today.
And that's why we get Medicaid prescription drugs first.
Exactly. It's the old law of concentrated benefits and dispersed costs, and it's a kind of constant shell game. 2/3 of the federal budget today is transfer payments. So transfer payments are twice as big as everything else, the Marine Corps, the national parks, the FBI, everything. So everyone's on the take, as it were. And the challenge for conservatives, and the challenge particularly for libertarian-flavored conservatism, is to maneuver within the public's deeply conflicted desires. You talk about 2016. My first rule is I want a governor. I don't want any more senators. They've never run anything. They really believe in the magic of words. Scott Walker, Kasich, Mike Pence, Bobby Jindal, people have actually had to run things and had people, clamorous people in their outer office. The American people are now living with, and more comfortable than they want to admit, a big state. And we're not going back. We're just not. I'd like to go back to what Albert J. Nock wanted, but we're not going.
But I mean, you, by the same token, and you've talked about kind of economic determinism, or the idea that people think that the way things are going now is the only way they can go, and in fact, in various periods in American history, that just radically changes. You know, Medicare at this point, and if you throw in Social Security as well, I mean, we're in a death spiral. Are there ways to pull out of that are
Sure.
not going to be so disruptive as to cause even more social upheaval?
President Obama says to Paul Ryan would end Medicare as we know it. Arithmetic will end Medicare as we know it. This is not a surprise, and it's not optional. It's going to end. The question is, then what do we do? Then what? Yamamoto's question again. So Republicans have to be ready as the crisis nears. I don't want to sound like, see, this is conservative Marxism. The internal contradictions become insupportable.
You have I mean, in the Goldwater preface, you talk a lot about kind of dialectic.
Yeah.
And I mean, do you see, in a sense then, I mean, and this might bring it back to the concept of a libertarian moment, that what we're seeing now is the dialectic shifting away from a kind of expansive government across all ideologies to its opposite.
Right. In part because, and I come back to the technological part, people are conditioned by their daily experience, going to Starbucks, going on the internet, to the sense of empowerment. And the idea that some people here in Washington are going to fix 18% of the economy that's the healthcare system by writing rules and regulations just strikes young people as weird. Just doesn't make any sense. And that's a sea change.